the Clyde Winter. And on their name, put some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show. It's been infiltrated. Yeah, you have to do this alone. That's what we're saying. Yeah, that information has been infiltrated. Yeah, you have to do this on your own, but you're not alone. You're not alone. Nah, I say you're not alone. You're not alone. I know you're not alone. I'm with you on this road. Say you're not alone. I'm with you on this road. Your information has been infiltrated. That's what I'm saying. You have to do this on your own. My information has been infiltrated. And we must do this alone, but you're not on your own. Jig is up, time up, make us switch up, time up. Jig is up, time up, make us switch up, time yeah. The jig is up, time up, make us switch up, kinda. The jig is up, time's up, time to switch up, time to switch up. Give me told us how to die and come back. Oh, make told us to do when we come back. Hear what I no disrespect, but I see something wrong with this dialect. Teach us the knowledge to move on. Start repeating old same song. We the make it because I'ma put a song. If you afraid to evolve, then we move on. Ain't no time for no backtrack. I don't know, it's that ultimate payback. With my popcorn in my view, you think they watching me? They're watching you. Time to write a new script for our baby. But you stuck on Bill Gates going crazy. He ain't in my peripheral. Something wrong when you have no control over your damn self. Can't teach wealth if you are against wealth. Ain't no shortcuts over here. Soon as you get it, it all disappear. Ain't no such thing as fast money. If you in the spirit of slow honey, it's good to know the history. But on the cool, that's just a part of me. So I pledge allegiance. Here while I'm breathing, that I don't get involved with all the scheming. I'm saying I'm leaving for this here reason. You don't see what's beyond what you so-called the truth. My information has been infiltrated. Yeah, you have to do this alone. That's what we're saying. Yeah, that information. Yeah, you have to do this on your own, but you're not alone. Nah, I say you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not alone. I'm with you on this road. Say you're not alone. I'm with you on this road. Your information has been infiltrated. That's what I'm saying. You have to do this on your own. My information has been infiltrated. And we must do this alone, but you're not on your own. Jig is up, time up, make us switch up, time up. Jig is up, time up, make us switch up, time yeah. The jig is up, time up, make us switch up, kinda. The jig is up, time's up, time to switch up, time to switch up.
This is a message to the B1 community. It's time to switch up. Know what I'm saying?
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? What up? How you doing,
What's
Eve?
happening, Dr. Winters? What's going on, chat? What's up, family? Welcome
Hey,
back.
how you doing, Teresa? The Dojo of Manhood, Ancient Black Spirituality. What up, though? All the way free. What up, though?
What up,
Anyway,
though?
tonight is the night, family. Why is tonight tonight? Tonight is tonight because I'm with Eve. How you doing?
Hi.
you know, it's family. You just can't imagine how how exciting it is to be with such a dynamic woman.
Oh,
How exciting it is to be in a sense with a black woman who knows her worth, as Kevin Samuel would say. A black woman in a sense that also understands the reality of what's going on, something that's important. So what up though, Eve?
what's going on? That was very nice of you to say. Um, give us Daria. She's upstairs. No, I mean I'm happy to be here. I really like Wednesdays because it is a dynamic that nobody ever expects, And then for what we're talking about tonight, I mean it falls right in line with our dynamic. Is it possible? Is it a thing, or is it just smoke and mirrors? And I just really like how we're able to dissect my thoughts because I have some very heavy thoughts. And okay, good. You gotta wait for Daria. Yeah, so I made ice cream today, and they've been
With
nipping.
the ice machine, ice
Yeah,
maker.
with an ice cream maker.
Ew, ew. My grandma used to could really make that stuff so good. She used to make a really good she used to make a really good mixture, not turning the thing with the ice and the rock salt. And
It's funny
I
you
know
say
your
that.
kids had a good day.
No, no, no. Look, in science class, I'll never forget this. In fourth grade science class, we learned how to make ice cream with the rock salt and the and churning it, like you said, and
Yeah.
we learned about thermal energy, I think, or some sort of energy transfer. But no, I have a lot of gadgets here that I didn't know I had because we're not hoarders, but we do have a lot of stuff. And then just cleaning and doing some much needed organizing, found an ice cream maker, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can make some ice cream. And I thought I broke it, but I didn't. And then now we've got ice cream. So
But even isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how sometimes if you've lived at the same place for a while, like sometimes you can forget what you put in the basement, or you forget.
yes.
Sometimes you forget what you put in the closet, or I like to go to my country club. That's the years over the years they would always give out these gifts, so-called gifts. You really paid for the gifts, and then sometimes I end up finding, damn, what is this stuff? What is it? Where did it come from? And but it's just so interesting, so interesting.
Oh, for sure. Because I mean, I remember my parents, and to my brother, he can't get mad at me because this is a memory that is very dear to me. So even though it's your memory, I'm gonna use it. My parents had this closet in the basement that they would store their gifts, like you just said. They would get gifts
Mhm.
from their friends from for different holidays or whatever, and they didn't drink. Um, so there'd be a bunch of wine bottles in there, and my brother at some point in our lives found the wine bottles and had been taking little sips and then replacing it with water. And since nobody drinks in the house,
Well,
nobody knew for years. And I don't know how they found out or if he just came clean and told them, but I always thought that was strange that you could have so much stuff and then forget. But then here I am. I had a whole ice cream make. I had a crock pot in here. I had an old crock pot that I'd never seen before. So I think it's, when you get with somebody and you guys have been together for a long time, you merge your stuff, but then maybe you never went through all of that stuff. So he had a crock pot, and then I got one for Christmas So then I had a new one, and I'm cleaning things out. I'm like, I got two. I don't need two. So keep the new one, toss the old one, and make more room for more stuff that we probably will forget about. But you know, that was my day. Just being Susie homemaker, and being a short
Well, that's
order for all the minis.
at least most women at least once a month they get that thing. I used to hate that day because I knew when I got home I wasn't gonna find my stuff. I wasn't gonna find you know. And if I left it in the living room, if I left my books in the living room or I left my books in the bedroom, you know, they weren't there when I got home, and I
Oh
and I
no!
couldn't no, and I couldn't ask.
So like they got tossed or they got put away?
They would be put away, but she told me I couldn't put things in the bedroom and the living room. No books in the bedroom or the living room. So if I accidentally forgot to take some books down, from the bedroom, when I got home they would be gone, but I couldn't ask where they were because
Because
I
you
knew
need
I was going.
you know where they belong, and that's probably where she put them if she didn't toss
No,
them.
they weren't there. They
Oh
weren't there, and I wasn't going to ask.
no.
But eventually, I'd give in so I could be told off. You're not supposed to be there. You don't want to be like a little child being told off, but I knew it to be done because that was a place. But I mean, boy, my baby doll when she visits the house and books all over the place, books in the bedroom, books on the bed, books all over the place. You're gone now. I love you, but you're not here. And so then so she would be very upset. But it's kind of interesting, when you think about Mike and making good, and then I know I was looking at the video, and according, in the video, he hugs the other guy, Jonathan, too. But then he
Mhm.
hugged her and picked her up, and then that's the only one they put out. And you always had this idea, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? And I don't know. I don't know, Eve, as a teacher, I've always been surrounded around women, because a lot of times the women were the principals or at least the assistant principal, or they were the majority of teachers. Especially when I went from elementary school. Elementary school, a whole lot of mainly women teachers around you, and the whole idea was, it was conflicting things, but why men and women are supposedly can't be friends or something like that? Why can't we be friends, or can we be friends? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, that's definitely the discussion I wanted to have tonight. Like, is it possible? And then I sit and I look at my own relationships, and it can go either way. Um, whether we're friendly because there was mutual respect, or friendly because we've got work to do, and it's easier to get work done when there's no dissent.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes the friendly turns into something else, or it's misinterpreted as something else. I've seen strangers just being nice to people, and people misinterpreting the kindness or the gesture for something else. But then I've also learned that sometimes people are a lot more sneaky than I'm giving them credit for. Like I might be very green with regards to people's ulterior motives. And inside of that, no, I don't think we can be friends if people's out here having all these ulterior motives. But maybe it's just, a case by case basis. But then you see, what happened, videos like Megan and Michael with Jonathan, and, they're pushing one side, trying to make it viral and drama. Um, but it does breed a good ground for conversation, because that happens. You don't end on bad terms with an ex, or someone that you were attracted to, and it's not a bad term ending. Now you're with somebody else and you see this person out in the street. Is it the same or is it different? Or are you supposed to be treating things differently because you're in a different situation? And I've heard people say that, well, that's fake. If there's no bad blood, then why can't I hug? It's like, okay, maybe you can hug, but I don't know if he needed to pick her up. It's like some things might be going a little too far. You're getting some inches and you've taken a mile. So,
But maybe I don't know. I don't know if in this day and age, by the time I've gotten ready to retire, I wouldn't even tell my colleague if she had a nice hairstyle. I wouldn't even tell her she had a nice hairstyle. I would not say anything, because and I only retired in 2016. But by that time, you couldn't really tell ladies, in a sense, your colleagues, that they looked good or that's a nice hairstyle you got, and you couldn't touch them on the show. Touched them on the show. Oh, damn, he raped me. and it's very interesting. But I remember, I'm not going to tell a lie, that I had some strange situations. I was teaching at one school, and the assistant principal, she used to like to talk about oral sex, performing oral sex, and
no.
in a meeting, yes, in the meetings.
What?
Yes, and the thing is, this is that now I used to think to myself, now if I would have brought that up, I would, she would want to say, Mr. Winters, that's not good, but she would do, yeah, she would do that, yes, and that was it was kind of a private school. I only taught there for a couple of years, but then I mean. No, but then when I was younger, I go to school, and then I was at one school teaching, and then this lady said, "Look at Mr. Look at this crotch! Look at this crotch!" and grown ass women running around the damn school, talking about look at Mr. Winters. Look.
Whoa! See,
it's crazy. Look.
That's more than that's more than crazy, because women are doing that double standard thing where they can harass men.
You can't do anything,
and you can't retaliate, you can't respond, you can't even act like they're acting, because do it to the woman who's not attracted to you, and now it's all sorts of harassment and rape and
like the kid, I think it was, I forgot if the kids caught him. But anyway, one of the teachers caught one of the other teachers, having sex in the classroom. The woman was up on the table, and the guy, it was doggy style, I guess. And so then they caught him. They had been having sex several times. I had heard about it, but that wasn't none of my business. And so they caught him. But then the principal only fired the man. She didn't fire the woman, And the woman was known for doing that. Yes. And and they were having sex like in when I was teaching and stuff, and I had this one lady, I had this one teacher, when all the kids left, she just laid on the table and said, "Take me, I'm yours," and threw her legs up in the air, and I mean, damn, I knew I was handsome, but I said, damn, I got too much magnetism. That's why I had to get fat. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't because I like that ice cream and all the cake and shit. No, I got fat so that the women, I'll be like those women. I got fat so that the women would stop coming at me, coming at me. But I think they used to come at me. I had to admit I'm a Winters man, so I know that we were always, we were. I know that as a Winters man, I know women always wanted us, and because we were Winters men, not now, but back in the day. And so then, but it was just that it just used to amaze me that these women could be so forward, and they could get away with that. And I had to act really good. I mean, if a girl student, sometime if a girl student would come up and hug you, you try to stay real stiff,
Right.
Whereas the women teachers, the boys would come up, and there would always be these boys and come and they would hug her and then lay their head on the female teacher's breast. And it was okay. It was okay.
It's not okay.
I'm not hugging nobody.
Shit. It's not okay. I had a student this past year who I teach advanced second grade through 5th grade. So it's like a cohort. And one of my students is on the spectrum. So, social cues.
He's older.
Say again?
He's older.
Yeah, he's older, but he is in the
And then
he's
the
in
other
the
students,
class.
right?
He's in the cohort he's supposed to be in, but if if he weren't on the spectrum, he would be he would have skipped a couple of grades by now because
Yeah.
he is that intelligent with some
Mhm.
things. You know, when the children are on the spectrum, you know, they don't have it across the board, but some of them really have it in some things. And this
Yeah.
boy he can draw maps, like he can see a map once. And what artist was that? They flew him over New York and he sketched out
He's a
um,
savant. A savant.
it seems like it, right? But okay, so that's the age group I have, and that is when they are starting to feel themselves. They're not quite middle schoolers yet, but they are starting to see things around them, especially if they're around older.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got real handsy this year, and that was a very interesting for me because it wasn't like a normal student that I've could talk to and be like, you know better. Like, what are we doing? We're not doing that. But with him, it's like social cues are missing anyway. So I'm trying to tell him, like, I know that that might feel good, and I know you might like that, and I know that this might be comfortable for you, and I know you're comfortable with me, but we're not gonna do that. You know, I'm gonna give you a high five now. You know, if every time you come and give me a hug, you trying to lay on my chest, we're gonna have to do something different.
Mhm.
And I didn't have to talk to him more than once, as much as I did have to sit him down and be like, look, this is what it is, and you might not understand all of this right now, or maybe you do. You know, like I don't know
Wow.
because he's here and then he's here, so it's like
That's
who
kind of
knows if
hard.
he's catching it. But I never had to speak to him again about it, and you know he was cool as long as I you know, as long as I greeted him, you know, gave him dap, or you know, treated him. I treat all the students the same way. um
But you know, there are those teachers who hug everybody when they come into class.
there are, and I don't like that. I thought a couple years ago when I saw those teachers go viral for the different handshakes and stuff, I thought
Mhm.
that was really sweet in the younger grades. But then I was seeing it in high school, and I'm like, I get it. You guys want to show that you've got a connection with your students, and I'm yelling all the time about how teachers don't give a damn. They have too many students to actually be able to give a damn. And then if you do, you will burn out, because some teachers really do, and then they burn out. Like that's that is the trajectory for the teacher who cares because of how many students they have. If they're in a public school teaching setting, if they're not, you know, they're in a private school and they've got smaller classes, and you know the load is a little bit easier, maybe not administratively or parent teacher wise, but at least how many students are in their classroom and how much hands-on time they can give. It's a lot easier at a private school than at a public school. But in the public schools, when I was seeing those viral videos, and the teacher's got a handshake for every student, and they've got it all memorized, and I was like, that's cute. But then it's a slippery slope, because now you've got to teach boundaries, because if you've been around these students for any real length of time, or they've grown up with you, they've grown up with you now. This is not just the teacher that they had 1 year, you know, that they started out in kindergarten giving you a hug, or okay, first grade to fifth grade. That's 5 years in one school, seeing one teacher that they used to hug when they would see them in the morning. You know, come back after summer break, still hugging her. I'm in second grade. See her in the hall. If it was a teacher I like, still hug. Third, fourth, you know, it is a slippery, fucked up slope. I don't like it because too many people know better and they don't do better.
Well, I didn't have that problem because we couldn't hug any students. You know, we hug them. We're molesting them, or we might trying to touch them. And I taught upper grade, and since
But
I
that's
always taught
really
upper
how
grade, it
it
was
should
kind of
be.
hard. You know, because upper grade, it was weird. In high school, like I think I told you before, when I started teaching in high school, when I started in 73 when I graduated, and you know, back then it was still kids in the school who were 21. So if you
Right,
went out, so when
right.
you
Because
went out to the club, you know,
you would see your
when you
students.
you see your students, and so I was subbing at this school, And one of the girls, she just, after everybody left, she got on the table, said, "Take me." I said, "Please get up and get out of here."
Yeah.
And
Please,
but the thing is, this is that I mean, I could understand. I was young, and I was a very handsome looking guy, maybe, and I had muscles then. I had my football voice. I still had my football voice, but as I got fat, I lost this voice. Then I started talking like this, but back then I still had my football voice. Stop laughing! Stop! That was my football voice that I had before I got fat. Then when I got fat, then I got another voice.
That is so funny. Look, I mean, I just I find that as an educator, it's probably better to be hands off, even though if you like the student and they like you, then you guys feel like family because you're around each other all day, or 8 hours, 7 hours, whatever the time is. Y'all are in the same building, and it's a safe place.
I started thinking about one of my colleagues, and she had some girls get smart with her once, and right, she had the teacher, she grew up in the project, so this girl got smart with her, and so she said, "I'll whoop your ass," and that was it. But I mean, I don't know. It depends on when you're teaching in some schools. I mean, them kids can be kind of rough.
For sure. They not kind of rough. They definitely have some rough ways about them. Right. And to me, I will always have respect for the teachers who know and respect the environment that they're teaching in. I've had too many colleagues who don't care. And then I don't know if I was talking to you about this or another person, but here in Norfolk, it's easier to get a job as a teacher because they're looking for teachers. And then what'll happen is all these white people will come to my city. And I say my city because I've been living here for a long time, but not.
Do they have education degrees or what?
Yeah, no, they've got education degrees, and all of the white teachers for the most part are all degreed. But what'll happen is they can't get a teaching job where they live, like out the beach or out in one of the suburbs. So they'll get their credentials in Norfolk. They'll be here for a year, and then they'll transfer, because after you have experience, you can transfer with your teaching license and experience. And then not only will you get more pay because you've moved to a district that pays more, but you're basically just making it bad for, the students coming up under you, because you're not there anyway. You haven't bought into it. It's just like a stepping stone. And then, when that happens, a lot of students, I feel like they fall through the cracks because they see a teacher that's like, yeah, this teacher's really into teaching, but they're just really there to just get their year so that they can transfer somewhere else. And then the students they get real heartbroken. I was so sad to leave public school because of the students that I was leaving. But then I had to think about like my own students. Like, I'm giving way more energy to these outside kids than I'm giving to my inside kids, and that math ain't math. And so, as sad as it was, I had to bounce. But I think it's a slippery slope for educators with these co-ed situations, because, well, like you've got Gavin Newsom right now, who just put a law or a bill into law saying that school is a safe place for children who identify as something else. And, it will turn into parents being abusive because they don't identify their children the right way, or they're not accepting their child's identification. And
well, I'm really glad that I'm not teaching now, because I know I would have messed up. I know I would have messed up.
I got yelled my last year in public school. I got yelled at so many times because they wanted us to put our pronouns in our email signature. I didn't do that. They wanted us to accept certain programs that they had started incorporating. And I had my own program that I had tried to incorporate, the It was like an EEOC for Black people, right? But
Mhm.
inside of that, all of the other groups were like, oh yeah, Asians need this and natives need this, and then everybody started trying to get something, and the only thing that went through was the gay stuff. So like
Yeah.
my stuff went through, it had already gone through, mine was the template, and then the gay stuff got through, and they started talking to third graders about gay stuff, and I think I might have blew a gasket that day because I just didn't understand why they were talking to elementary school students about sex and why are we doing this? But Virginia's trying to do what California was doing, which was make a safe space for these students who identify as other, and then harsh punishments on the parents who don't accept these
You know,
identities.
but you always had them. You know, you always had that one boy, not the girl. The girls it was for a little while, but you had that one boy, you know, and he thought he was superior to everybody else, and he was gay, but he thought he was superior to everybody else, and so I just, you know, and you know, you didn't allow people. You know, I always made a safe environment. Nobody's going to be abused in my classroom. That's just the way I felt. Now I couldn't save you on the way home. Now I couldn't save people from maybe one to then I tried to make that a safe environment. But I'm really glad today that I can't imagine what you went through, Eve, because you know today you got to know. Sometimes they want you to know the pronouns. You had to make sure you allow the kids to you had to recognize them if they give you a name that they want to be recognized, and then they talk about some of the schools where the kids have to be. You had to let the kids into the bathrooms, and you know, I mean, hey, it's really messed up, you know.
Oh, it's more than mess. See, and
And
me,
so you know,
uh,
I don't know about I don't know how you guys can handle it.
it's just it just shows that there are more people who are willing to accept what's given to them versus people who are willing to do something else. You know, it's always gonna be a lot harder to go against the grain, but you know, if something's wrong, then it's incumbent on the responsible people to do that thing. Um, it was your Juneteenth show that really impressed upon me that idea, you know, just doing the right thing even if there's going to be consequences, because of the two generals who freed slaves when they weren't supposed to, because they were like, we're not about to lose, we're going to do this because we're not going to lose. And if people can do that then people can do that now. They just need to know that it's okay to go against the bad thing. And to me, that is a a conversation that goes across a bunch of different environments. You know, is it the right thing or the wrong thing? And then do you do it even though you don't have the support, even if it's the right thing? So
But it seems like it's harder. I mainly taught black kids. You know, when I was when I substitute when I taught in 2020 I went back to work a couple of years, and 2019 to 2020 to the end of the pandemic, and I taught in some suburban schools. So I had some white students, but most of the time I've always taught mainly black kids. You know, and the thing is this is that so I had a different so it was kind of different. So I didn't really, in a sense, have to really, you know, it wasn't a big thing. And you know, you may have had a gay student in your class, but you know, you didn't let nobody mess with them, and then that was it. But it wasn't so much that you had to have the propaganda, you had to have the emphasis and things like that. Now I think it's different because there's more emphasis, you know. But it's like what Francis Wilson said is that that's the ultimate goal of white supremacy to engage us into is to lead us into homosexuality, and in a way when somebody becomes a homosexual, then in a way they're normal. They're a normal individual in a sense that has been really indoctrinated through Cades to really become what the white supremacists want us to become. You know, so it's kind of very difficult. It's kind of very difficult to not be gay because see, I remember when I went to university, when I went to Illinois, you know, back in '69, a large majority of the guys there were kind of gay, you know, kind of. That's why those of us who were straight, we had more girls. But anyway, that's another story with the girls. But anyway, I'll just shut up. Let me shut up. There was a lot of gay people there. Then a lot of because see most of the people when I went to Illinois came from Chicago and Philadelphia and East St. Louis. So you know everybody the guys had the Philly dip. So you know it was kind of cool. You know it's kind of cool. You know, so I mean, hey, that it was an interesting time. But today, how did you handle that? Did you have any kids with pronouns that you had to?
I did. I do it the same way. I try to. Here's my thing. I am not gonna do something that doesn't make sense, but I do appreciate the power in naming ourselves. So if I had a John and he wants to be called Sally, well, John can be called Sally. I'm fine with that. But if John is expecting me to call him a she, no, I've got all sorts of problems with that. No, we're not doing that. And I would always be very.
Did they push you? Did anybody? I know that you don't. White kids will push you. White kids will.
Nobody ever pushed. They and then for what it's worth in public school, because I don't see that at the school that I teach at now. You know, private Black school. Not saying that it doesn't happen, you guys. I'm just saying I haven't experienced that at the school that I teach now. But in public school, I've had a bunch of gay students, and I must say gay because they haven't had sex yet. And I always, depending on what age they were, because I taught middle school, if they were in the 8th grade middle school or 6th grade middle school, I would talk to them about that. You know, like, are you already having sex? Or you're not having sex? So how do you know you're gay? And that they never have an answer for that because they don't expect me to talk to them about sex. But if you're going to tell me you're gay, you're telling me you're having sex already, and you've opened the door for this conversation. So, I mean, we've had a lot of honest conversations. I don't have any students that hate me. I've had some school shooter looking students who probably might bypass me in the hallway if, you know, they decided to go, because I treat everybody the same, but you're not going to have me having issues with myself based off of your identification, but I will respect the name that you want to call yourself. And I don't know why people have an issue with that. Like, who cares what they want to be called? Their name. Now their classification, we're starting to talk about groups of people, you know, umbrella terms. I don't like that. And I think that that's dangerous, but how somebody wants to call themselves, you know, your actual name, sure. But, you know, in adult world, you'll have the trans woman, because I think that is the man who wants to be a woman now. And I saw one video. He's out at a restaurant and everybody is mislabeling him because he still looks like a dude. You're dressed like a woman. You got on makeup, but you still look like Earl. And everybody's saying, yes, sir, no, sir. And let's just call him Earl. Earl's like, I want to speak to the manager with his husky voice. So not only does he look like a dude, but he's got a whole husky voice. And he's
Did he have a beard?
No, but there was stubble. It's like, sir, come on. But so he asked to speak to the manager, and the manager's like, I'm so sorry, sir. I died because what do you want us to do? We're looking at you. We're trying to make you feel better about being out in public because clearly you've got issues, but I can't. It's not a lot of people who can look at the color blue written in pink and not say pink. You know, have you seen that test? It's like all of the colors are written in different colors, and the test is say it out loud. Say the color, not the word, out loud, or say the word.
What type of test is it? Is it personality?
It's like a cognitive test. Let me see if I can find it. My godmother had a shirt. It was I'm weird. It was the coolest shirt when I was little. It had a bunch of colors on it, written in color. You know, it would say black, but it was written in red, or it would say green and it was written in blue. And it's 2 tests. Say all the words without saying the color, or say all the colors without saying the word. And most people can't do it. You really have to be focusing. And when I see a man dressed up like a woman, that's what I saw. You can't be mad at me for seeing. Now you telling me your name is Sally. Okay, now I know that you've got issues, and okay, I'm gonna call you Sally because we're not trying to have no problems. You might try to beat me up. You a whole dude out here. Like let's not.
Yeah, and you know, but again, when I go to Walmart to get my gas, sometimes it's a trans I guess it's a trans lady there, and you know, I try just not to say anything. You know, I accept hello, goodbye, and get the hell out of there because I'll be afraid sometimes I'm gonna say thanks, man. You know, and you know, because you know, she's got the fingernails, he's got the fingernails and all that, but I can tell you, damn, I can tell. Why are you doing this? But again, in a sense, but this is part of the world. But I understand is that's that whole thing about white supremacists who want us to be non procreative. And the more that we can become homosexual, the more we don't procreate. And then the more in a sense that we're afraid of each other, then it leads in a sense to this disorganization, this ability to control you, hold you back. And I think that's one of the things that's very terrible about trying, in a sense, to move ahead of the drama. You know.
Definitely. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Oh, you want to show something? Okay.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to show you. It's called the Stroop test, and you can share it if you want to. But that is what I was talking about. People, you see the color, but it's not written in the color. It's written in a different color. So then, can you make the association with the word, or are you going to get hung up on what you see? So I guess it's a congruency type of thing. But man, in real time, I'm sorry, if you've got a whole beard or stubble and you're dressed up like a woman, you would have to have a feminine voice for me to try to make any other association than.
But back in the day when I was a teenager, we had to when I was a teenager, we would look at the shoulders. Look at his shoulders. He got Adam's apple. Nowadays, in a sense, some of them remove that, or some of them look really really interesting. And so then that's why a lot of people are killing them, because some guys they don't like to be tricked. And I remember the big thing 2 years ago was that a lot of the trans were saying, why are guys worried about the penis? If you got a penis and I got a penis, why do I want to be with you? I don't know, but they were saying that a lot of brothers was hung up on the fact that they had penises. I mean, damn, that's why you want a woman, because of the difference between the yin and the yang. I don't know.
Yeah, I find that that's very rapey. You have to consent to the sex that you're having, and if you didn't know that the person you're having sex with used to have a penis, that's not consent. You've lied to them, and I would expect them to be very angry about you lying, because you've forced them into a situation that they didn't want to be in. And then I've seen people in comments, they'll say, well, they were attracted, so they must be gay. Okay, but you're going to have to let somebody come to that on their own, right? Like you can't just tell them, I'm a man, you're gay. Whoa, wait, whoa.
Yeah, but if you've been taking all these hormones and the body, you got breasts and all that, and but you got a penis too, of course somebody might become, emotionally attached to you or stuff like that. But in a way, I think that's why sometimes a lot of them get killed. Is I think that some people, that makes them feel that, hey, why did you trick me like that? Why did you do that to me? I don't know. I don't know, because I'm not out there, and because I'm not out there, I really can't say. You always, even we used to out in Chicago, they talked about the Wild Hundreds, And in the Wild Hunters, it was always this transvestite. Everybody knew him, but and he would be out there on Friday nights hustling, making some money. But everybody knew him. And then so So one day he said, one day I was in Roseland, and so he said, and so my baby son. He said, "Oh, your son is so handsome." I said, "Well, you better not look at my son. I'll fuck you up." And and I mean, damn, because nobody I think wants their kids. Most people don't want their kids to become homosexual. I'm sorry. Maybe that's not fair to say that, but and I'm going to be honest. The people say, "Why, Dr. Winters, would you have mind if one of your sons or daughter became homosexual?" Well, I always felt sincerely, Eve. I always felt that it's hard enough being a black man or being a black woman, and then I just felt that if they joined the letter population, it was going to be even much more harder on them. And I don't want my kids to have a hard time. I felt they were going to be getting double pressure, double prejudice and racism, and so that's why I didn't want them to go that way. But I mean, if somebody went that way, I would still love them. One of my nephews, my wife's nephews, that's what he wanted to be, but that was him, and I'm not mad at him, and that's just it, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's just like I don't know, because I always told my sons, I said, please, will you please get married before you have your children? And they said, what are you talking about? You and mom, y'all had a baby before y'all wasn't married, and y'all had Darren, and I said, that's true, but I said, I would like you to be married so I could see my grandchildren, because see, if you and the lady don't get along, then she may not want to let me see my grandchildren. So if I can have access to my grandchildren, so please don't do that. And they said, okay, but probably deep down they probably said it under their breath, fuck you. But I mean, I don't know. And lately, I was talking to my daughter today, and lately, anyway, I'm not going there. I was about to say something, and one of my kids might get mad. But, it's weird. It's weird. People are weird. I'll just put it like that. People are weird. People are weird and trying to get along. And it's even harder as a teacher, because, see, when I was teaching, I'm going to go back to the subject. When I was teaching, I had this one of my colleagues, she would tell everybody that I was her boyfriend. We worked together about 10 years. And so she would tell everybody I was her boyfriend. You got a husband. You got a husband.
She has a husband. Hold up. No, not she has a husband, and she was telling people you were her boyfriend.
Yeah, and she was telling people I was her boyfriend. And her friend, and not going there either. But anyway, and so then, so one day this new teacher, she was hired. We was both teaching 8th grade. And she said, Mr. Winter, she said, is she your girlfriend? I said, no, she's not my girlfriend. She told me she's your girlfriend. I said, no, she's not my girlfriend. I'm married, and because, see, I'll tell you the truth. As a Winters, I disgrace. Yes. I made my father very sad, and because yeah, I wasn't a whore. And so then all my other brothers, in a sense, they I probably would have been a cheater, but my wife, she told me once, she said, Clyde, I said, well, we'll do this, we'll do that when you get married. She said, yeah, but she said, if you cheat on me, never ask me for forgiveness. I said, what are you talking about? I said, damn, your mama and my mama, they what are you talking about? I said, that's not fair. I said, my mama and your mama, they know our daddy's a horse, but I said, they know our father's a whore, and they were born in September. They were Virgos. It's kind of hard for a Virgo man to be satisfied with one woman. And so then I said, so why can't I cheat? She said, you can cheat. I don't care if you cheat. She said, you can cheat as much as you want, but don't ask me for forgiveness. Don't ever ask me for forgiveness. And I said, no, that's not fair. That's not fair. I should be able to cheat, and I should be able to say, please forgive me. I'm tired of being a hoe. I'm tired of being a hoe, baby. So forgive me. And she said, no, I will not forgive you, because she said that if you cheat on me, then you cheated on me. And she said, I will know, and it will not be the same. And so I'm a very selfish person. I wanted to have 100% of my wife. So I said, maybe I won't cheat on her, because but the thing is this is that it's very difficult. It's very difficult because what is cheating? But why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why is it that I remember sometimes when I was in college and stuff, and it was girls I went to high school with, and one of them went to Illinois with me. And so then for some reason I decided, since she was my friend, I was going to protect her, So we would go to these fraternity parties. I'd say, I'll just use the name Lolita. Lolita, don't go up those steps. Yeah, okay, Clyde. Mind your own business. I said, don't do that. I said, but I mean, damn, that's what she wanted to do. I couldn't save her from being a hoe. But the point is but see, the thing is that why be friends? Why can't we be totally? Because I learned early in life. I learned early in life that, especially when I got in university, I learned that if a girl was your friend, if y'all were friends, don't ever think about having sex with them, and don't ever think she's going to have sex with you. If you're friends, you're friends, and I like that. I like that about when you were friends with the girl. If you were really friends, you wasn't going to be able to cross that line, So a lot of times, so before I got married, I said, damn, I'm not going to be friends with too many girls. No, I'm not going to be friends with too many, because with friends, you can't cross the line.
No, you can't cross the line. I think it's interesting what your wife said about cheating on her, because really, your baby doll was gangster. And what I mean by that is she said, say it with your chest. And she really meant, like, if you about to cheat on me, you're not about to try to act like you were sorry for it. You meant to do it. Like, what are you talking about? Forgiveness.
But your mom and daddy did it. Your mom and grandma did it. They were married to winners men, and they talked about your mom, your granddad, and daddy being whores. So and her father was a whore too. So why couldn't she?
Oh no.
She should have been more understanding. Why wasn't she more understanding?
No, because she said y'all are out here breaking generational curses out here, goddammit. And no, you gotta do better. Once you know better, you do better. For what it's worth, I think that you guys are probably an example that people need. In the age of people telling us that marriage is for the birds, or you don't really know what you want, or all the women are trash, or all the men are pookies, or whatever. It's like, well, how are we supposed to sustain our population if we're not supposed to get married, but we're also not supposed to have these illicit children from these wedlocked homes? Like, how do we grow? And then I think about the white supremacy of it all. They've been attacking the family the entire time. It's been attack on the Black family. Why? Because that's how you make sure that there's no more Black family. From there, we've got a bunch of people who don't want to participate in the breaking of the curses. It's a lot easier to just follow suit. And, that could be from, the example that you were given. I have students, right? So I live in Norfolk, right? I've already said, but Norfolk has a beach, and then there's a beach 30 minutes up the road, and there's a beach an hour that way, and 30 minutes that way, and an hour. I love where I live. Lots of beaches. I have students who've never been to the beach, and there's a beach in their city because of generational poverty and never going anywhere. And then I just think about the fact that the same students have told me their goals in life. I had one student, Dr. Winters, he made a whole PowerPoint about how he's going to have 5 baby moms, but really he was going to have 5 ex-wives. But really they his baby moms because they going to get married eventually, but they going to get divorced because, he's a player, he's just going to be moving on. And it was in his PowerPoint. And I wish I was making this up, but it was written in text talk, so with abbreviations and words that are not spelled right, but it was a whole PowerPoint about what he's going to do when he grows up, and he was going to be a player because he's got 5 baby moms that used to be his wife, and he's taking care of all his kids though. He's taking care of all his kids though. And he made a point to talk about how he's going to be taking care of these kids.
And what grade was that?
This was 7th grade. 7th grade technology. He was writing they had at the school that I was at, they had a business elective where you could learn about becoming an entrepreneur. And he took that class and he made a PowerPoint of what he wanted to be when he grew up. And it was single with a bunch of kids, but he was going to be making that money and taking care of his kids. And he got a bunch of women that he had on rotation or whatever. And I'm just like, okay. But that's his example though. I mean, his dad was player. His mom had a bunch of kids and they were not all by his dad. And some of these children, their parents don't have, I don't know what it is, but they don't have whatever that is to make them want more, because what they have is enough. They're not struggling. They got food. He got Jay's iPhone or whatever the new phone is. Some of these children who don't have shit have the most shit. And it's like, whoa, if you really knew like your mom was getting a check every month or, but
several checks.
Some of them do know, like they know that their parents are getting a check and they know about food stamps, and there is nothing wrong with that to them because it's never been taught to them that this is something that we want to move away from as much as it's where we are and life is cool. Y'all in school, bills. How do you tell a child that this is not where you want to be if they get to eat what they want to eat? They get to go places because there is expendable income because you're on government assistance for all of these bills. Your rent's $14. You don't really have to pay out what other people are paying out.
I don't know that's a good question, but Create So Far says, I've wondered about my dad and his brother at times. Sometimes I think, were they having sex like a maniac when they were my age? My cousin was out of hand when it came to the ladies. The point is that you be wanting to please your father because, by the time you get 11 years old, your father and your uncles are all saying, hey, what about the girls? And so then you want to live up to your father's expectations, your uncle's expectations. And so it's very difficult. But I think the thing that makes it so bad is that, girls, they create the gash man. I call it gash man, the one who's always using women. Because I know when I was growing up, like I told you, first of all, my sister, because her friends would use me as a kissing dummy. Then when I got to be a teenager, all the girls on the west side wanted to give me sex. And the girls on the south side, in Chicago, the girls on the south side were more sophisticated. And they kind of had the hairstyle. Girls on the west side kind of country. So a lot of them, so you always had these girls throwing sex. They're all having sex at you. And so I had to pray to God. I prayed to God and say, please, God, give me somebody that I can love. Not instead of just people just throwing themselves at me. And so luckily, God answered my prayers and I met my wife, But the thing is, this is that girls create the gash man. They create the men who mistreat the girls, And yes, that's one of the reasons why it's hard to be friends. But it's not hard to be friends. But I don't really think that a lot of women want to accept the fact that they created that monster, and they created that monster by just making him feel it was good what he did. I don't know, maybe some mothers too. Maybe some mothers encourage their kids to use women because they were used. I don't know the psychology of it. Because I always taught my sons that number one, always carry a rubber in your wallet. Now, in a sense, please don't have any children out of wedlock. And number three, I would like to be able to see my grandchildren. Those were my three laws that I taught them. Keep a rubber in your wallet. But what if we don't use the rubber, Pops? I said, damn, keep the rubber in your pocket, in your wallet.
That's I mean, if there are some staples to be passed down, definitely protect yourself, especially Black men. I mean, there's so many women out here who know that they're not going to get the same treatment, so they're abusing the system, all of the systems.
Yeah.
I don't like that we have to have some of these conversations because of the woman's role, and because I'm not that woman. I don't like that. Like, I don't agree with that shit, but here we are. And yeah, the women make the rules. A lot of these rules, you know, they will friend zone someone and then take them out of the friend zone. And then the men are all confused because I thought that we were just friends, but now I'm in an area that I'm not a friend. And it's normally after she's been ran through or has had a lot of life lessons, smacked her up and down, and now she's looking for the nice guy. Where's that man that was my friend? He never tried to fuck me over. Let me see about him. And that's not fair. And neither is it fair that they'll go and make babies with men that don't want them and then be mad at the baby because the dad doesn't want to take care of the baby that he never wanted.
Well, when I was growing up, and I always felt that if you had sex with a girl once, you could have sex with her 1,000 times later. Even if y'all broke up, I thought you could always go back home. I don't think that, I don't know if that was correct or not, but I used to just see it that sometimes they would go with a guy, and then in a sense the guy would cut out and they would come back. So it seemed like to me that act of sexual intercourse in a way would brand some women so that they felt that they should go back to that guy. But I don't know. I don't know because see, you know, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? You know, and that is very complicated to me.
I just think that it's more of women making the rules, and probably why women shouldn't make some rules. I mean, maybe you make the rules in your home. Maybe you are the keeper of the rule book in your square or in your kingdom. Outside of that, I feel like we are too emotional to be making umbrella statements for things. You know, we probably need to be taking some step-by-steps or case-by-case bases, because I've seen it too many times. Women who have friend zone men, and these men, they're not slime balls. They're not the barbells of the world trying
But
to
how
just,
how many times do they get them to go with them? Because most of the time, if you've been a friend of a girl a long time, most of the time you know you're not going to go there. And if she went there, you've already established a rule. So most of the time, if you were friends over 2 or 3 years, it's very difficult for me to see a guy ready to say, oh, all of a sudden you want me, and I don't see it. Maybe you see it nowadays, maybe, but back in the day that wasn't possible.
It's just probably because more people are out here with these ulterior motives. Like, men are playing a long game now. Like, okay, I've seen how y'all women are moving, and I might get out the friend zone because you've been a hoe. And if I just wait long enough and I'm, you know, still competitive, attractive, or whatever, then you will come to this side of the game. And then, I mean, if he's a slime ball, then, you know, he will have been very patient for the thing that he wants, and then he'll move on from there. And then the woman is sitting there looking stupid, like, but I thought he was my friend. But was he really your friend, or was he just waiting you out? And if you've given him access and you've never really deaded it, like, some women will dead it, done. It's a dude she's never been attracted to. She will never be attracted to this dude because physical chemistry exists. And that man is never getting out of the friend zone. It doesn't matter what's going on. But other men that have been put in the friend zone because the timing wasn't right. Maybe she was with somebody at the time, or maybe he didn't have things that she wanted at the time. He was attractive, but he didn't have the things. Well, now she's crossing off things on her list because maybe she was being too specific. She was being too needy. She's asking for too much. No, I need to, okay, if I take this off, take this off, and take this off, let me look at my friends, my list of guys that I have orbiting me and see if any of these men check off, my boxes. And now that she's nixed a whole bunch of negatives or things that she wouldn't have accepted, she starts circling in that group of friends. And just with Megan Goode and Michael Ealy, I don't know that they were ever a thing as much as when I saw the video, it just looked like they had been close. And I get it. You're an actor, an actress, y'all working on a movie, y'all get close, but that's work. That's a work relationship, right? You work with the female teachers. Y'all are with each other 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're with that person more than your spouse, and you develop a relationship. Right?
But I remember back in the 80s and 90s, and with some of my colleagues, I would give them big hugs like that and all that type of stuff. I didn't do it. I didn't do it in the 2000s when everybody no. But when I was first teaching, yeah, you would hug people like that, and nobody would think of it. But nowadays everybody is suspicious. Everybody feels that you have ulterior motives, and it's just different. It's just different. That's just like one of my colleagues, her children. She used to hang around this other woman who was a whore, and who used to like me, and all of her husband was light, and all of her children was dark. So I said that she must was a whore or something like that, and it's just interesting.
Look,
Did
you
you
guys,
want to show this video?
yeah, I pulled it up so that people can get some context. I'm not going to play the sound because I don't know if it's got music in the background, but just, you see, he hugs Jonathan Majors first, then he hugs Megan, right? And everything is okay, right? Because he hugged Jonathan first, but look at Jonathan. He's looking off into the distance. He does not look comfortable at all to me. And then just off of, it's not like that was the only woman there. He hugs another woman. Look, very nice. Maybe he doesn't know her. Maybe. Fine, sure. But they know each other. They're very friendly. And her boyfriend, Jonathan Majors, does not look like, he just didn't look like he was ready for that. It just,
well, he's a person that doesn't know that he no longer has any authority. See, he doesn't understand. He no longer has any authority. Because the fact is that he needs her. He needs her to get back into the Black community. But the point is that he went to Yale and all that type of stuff, and the people said that he was no good. So he needs her more than she needs him, And so it's very important that he go along. Russell says, my father was not in my life that much as a child. However, I felt that he only liked me because I could fight and I attracted females. Maybe that is true. You never know. But I mean, fathers like their sons for different, and that's something you should think about. Russell also said, I have never hugged a woman like that in front of her man, her father, or her brother. That's good. That's good. You shouldn't do that if that's what you feel, but it depends, Shout out to Russell and Teresa. Thank you for your support. Good. But the thing is that I don't know. Like I said, is that today I may have would have did something like that in the past, but not today because now people are so suspicious. A lot of the women are ready to accuse you. Like she might later, like that may have been a nice hug, and then later Megan may have went home and then said, "Damn, why did he do that? He was too forward." The next thing you know, you're in trouble. So I.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. Jonathan didn't get all big and bad or macho or why are you hugging on my woman or anything. He just kind of
Yeah.
let it happen. And that definitely could have caused some dissent in some relationships. Like, well, if you were mad about it, you didn't say anything about it. Not taking into consideration that this man is already in the public eye for
Mm-hmm.
feeling some kind of way, negatively, loudly, or whatever about how the woman's supposed to be acting. But some Black women they abuse the spotlight. I don't think she abused the spotlight. I think she's just existing. I also think that she's a woman who was married, who was trying to make sense of life after marriage, but I don't know
I
if
think it's
after marriage.
I think it's all. I think it's all very complicated. I was listening to her and when she was with us, and the thing is, this is that we always, we always see divorces as failures. I know you've been divorced, but no, we always see divorces as failure. But sometimes I don't know if maybe in a sense we should look at it, And when she was talking, she said, "Well, I learned something. He learned something." And she said, "God, why didn't this go the way you wanted to?" And you're saying to yourself, "Well, why would she blame it on God?" But in a way, to me, I felt that was kind of a sincerity thing, and I think that their relationships are so hard because to me, see, most people they make a big mistake. They think that a good relationship evolves around good sex, and that's wrong. A good relationship evolves around good conversations. Are you talking? Are you communicating? Because see, as long as you're communicating, as long as what you're thinking and they're sharing what they're thinking, I think it allows you to be much more closer, and it allows you in a sense to be much more aware of how things are going. And then Russell Robinson says Jonathan handled it in the correct way he did because they're not married. Now if they would have been married, now then in a sense you may have would have got a little bit mad. Hey, why? He probably wouldn't easily. Michael easily wouldn't probably want his wife to have somebody come and grab her and pick her up. He probably would have had a fit. See,
Right. That was the other part of the conversation. It was
hell yeah, like I don't know, because I would have been wondering why. But then the thing is that it's very difficult. I had a very, my wife was very beautiful to me, and a lot of other people I think thought she was beautiful too. But the thing is but see, she knew how to handle herself in public. You know what I'm saying? In the sense, just like me, she wouldn't correct me, and I really appreciate correct me because I was always doing, fucking up, maybe not acting correct, and she wouldn't correct me. She would always tell me later, "Claude, that was stupid. Don't do that again. You shouldn't do that." But see, but so again, my wife. She was very good. I really miss her and really wish she was still here. But at the same time, you need that. But I think that good relationships are built around communication. Just like a lot of these people, and I always bring this up when I was teaching research at Governor State. And I was teaching research at Governor State, and then at the end of the research class, see, most people would teach the 3. And so then at the end of the so within, I don't care how long the class was, you had to have a research paper at the end of the class with 5 chapters. Okay. And so then I would always say, "Well, what do you want to do?" And then it would always be a white woman, and she would say, "Well, I want to do a paper on single parents." I said, "I know what she wanted to do." I said, "You want to do a paper on single parents?" "Yeah." I said, "But I know I taught long enough to know." I said, "Do you have any children?" Yeah. I said, have you been married?" I'd say, "Yes." I'd say, "Are you still married?" "No." I said, "Oh, so you'd like to do a paper on single parents?" Then they would never want to do the paper. See, I understood over the years. I had taught research at Governor State for 10 and a half years. And I knew that the average white woman had been married. She had been married, but she was not with a boyfriend, you see. And so then, that's what a lot of people don't understand is that white women get married but usually they get divorced too. See, quickly. And so then a lot of times they are a single parent, but they're living with their boyfriend, or the
Right.
boyfriend is living with them. And so
Right.
see, so it's really no difference. But see, we get these misinterpretations of what's going on. We don't really understand that it's a lot of white women who've been married, but they're not married anymore. And just like the sister not with her husband, they're not with, but they may be with somebody. That's the only difference. But see, she'll move somebody in. I mean, you move somebody in. What does it matter? Somebody's moved in. But the point is that. So again, after I would say that, they say, "Oh, I don't want to do a research paper on that." Yeah, because you're a single parent too. Get out of here. The only difference is that you found a man to kind of hang on to. So it's kind of complicated. It's kind of complicated, but they always want to throw on us to make it look as though we're the deviants and we're not deviants. But it is still very hard because, as I told you, even as a teacher throughout my career, I mean, it was always women who wanted to have sex with me. I don't think they wanted me to be. I think they just wanted to have sex. I don't think they wanted relationships. But maybe they did. But I just think that they just wanted to have sex, just to see if they could have me. And
No, that's real. There is a growing population of people who are testing the limits, and that's men and women. And if you are putting up a chase, then now you are prime time realty for me to pay attention to, because why did you say no? Men are supposed to be so primal. Like, well, how are you saying no to all this goodness? Maybe, right?
yeah,
So, and then men are having the same argument, but with tangibles, like, uh, don't let people block your blessings. Encouraging street behavior, I guess. And inside of that, it's really about, do you mean what you say? Because if you're with someone, then you're with someone, and maybe you would.
but you'd be surprised how many women get mad at you.
Right?
But you don't know how many. But you would be surprised how many women will get mad at you because you wouldn't have anything to do with them, and they will want to hurt you. They will want to hurt you because they believe. See, everyone believes that her vagina is gold. It's gold, and because she believes that she has a golden vagina, she feels that if you're a man, that you should want her. And the thing is that if you don't act like you want her, not so much now, but back in my day, then therefore, in a sense, she felt that you in a way didn't, even though she may not really want to have sex with you, but you're supposed to still want her. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
It's very complicated in a sense, and this complication comes from the fact is that it's men and women trying, in a sense, to relate to each other. Sometimes I think it's very difficult for men and women even to work on the same job, white, and it's hard. It's very difficult, I think, for people.
I think it is because of what we talked about earlier. First of all, I think that there is this thing out there that people don't want to work with their spouse. You need a break away from your spouse. Like, you don't want to be in the same home and then go to work, and then there's no separation of church and state at home, right? But then when you do that, you're allowing opportunities to make connections with other people. And then, it would be very silly to say that you're not going to make connections with other people, especially if you're working in a field that includes other people, right? So inside of that, can we get work done and be friendly, or do we have to be cold shoulder, or is there a middle ground? And I just find that more time with people, in the same environments, it causes familiarity. Kind of like what we were talking about with school. I know to Chad, it might have seemed like that was off topic, but it wasn't. It's just a layer of the argument that makes it a slippery slope. When you're with someone for so long, for however many days, the lines start getting blurred because it's chemistry. You might know better in your head. I'm married. I've got someone, whatever. But then my wife's not here, my husband's not here, and I'm at work and I'm with the people that I'm supposed to be doing work things with, and everything's just very easy because we like each other already, but we're not talking like that. It's not sexual, but there's already an attraction there, and it just seems like a slippery slope for irresponsible people. Or some people are really not as good as we're giving them the credit for. We do that. We give people more credit than they're worth, because we would want someone to give us the credit, but we can't project like that because it's a slippery slope. So maybe I think I might change my title to Slippery Slope, because I don't think
it's kind of difficult. Russell Richardson said, "I've been married twice, and I still would have handled it the way Jonathan did." That's kind of cool, maybe. And then Craig so far says, "I had some white women come on to me, and I was in school, Dr. Clyde, but nothing as crazy as that one who came on the bus and grabbed your crotch." You're right, she did. She got on the bus and she just grabbed, and then she jumped up and ran off the bus. But I guess she just wanted to see if it was true. I don't know. But see, the thing is this, is that was when I was living on campus. I was in a university town. When you're in a big city, you don't get those things. But when you're in a university town where everybody's white, they just don't really see. Last week I had the Prasids on, and they were talking about some of the racism. There's some, there are Dravidian girls, black girls, and they were talking about the racism that they experienced when they were living up in the West. So it's very interesting. And so when you're at university, I think that when you're a student at university, white people think that they can use you as an experiment. I don't know. I was on a campus, and so it's thousands of people, 75,000 people at the university. But the point is this, that's what you feel. But I feel that as a teacher in school, it was very difficult, because it was still those women who wanted to be more than just, they wanted you to be more than friendly. They wanted to have that intimacy. And I think that what I found is that the most needy women were women, in a sense, who they had been married, but they didn't really communicate with their husbands, and they didn't really talk. And then if you talk too much with them, they get the wrong idea. Because, see, you're talking with them, their husband isn't talking with them, their boyfriend is talking with them. And so sometimes they feel that maybe we can push this a little bit further. But it's kind of hard, because, see, back in the day, you would never ask a woman, "Can I have sex?" You would never ask her. You were told no. You would never. In the 70s and 80s, you would never ask a woman, can I have sex? Like nowadays, you got to ask, can you have sex, and make sure before y'all have intercourse, to make sure that you sign up the waiver. Is it okay? Because, see, back in the day, if you asked a woman for sex, she was going to tell you no. You might even ask your wife for sex, and she'll say no. Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute, baby. You're my wife. Yeah, but why did you ask? No. Oh, okay. They wanted it to just happen. They wanted it to just happen back in the day. So if you went over somebody's house and you're with a girl, and then it just happened, I guess. Even though I don't know, but back in the day, can we have sex? You did that, you didn't have sex. That was just it. That it was like that the women felt back then that in a way they were being whorish, I guess. They felt it was beneath themselves. But nowadays you do have to ask. You do have to ask.
Yeah, no, consent, that they will get you with consent, but then you can't get them with consent, because you're supposed to be a man and you're supposed to just be able to know the things. I watched a video before we went live. It was a white girl on a strip, and the guy was asking her, "Have you ever said no to a guy to see his resolve, if he's really trying to get with you?" And she said, "Yes, all the time." So then the guy says, "Well, so no means yes sometimes." And she's like, "Yeah." And she says it so matter of factly, like, y'all are supposed to know that no means yes, but really no means no. And it's been beat into you guys that no means no. But in real time, this woman said, well, it depends on the guy, because if it's a guy I like and it's a no, but it's more of a, well, how much do you like me? How much are you going to give to make my no turn into a yes? And it turns real, it's very street mentality, but
it's
the women don't
complicated.
want that label.
Yeah.
So,
so back in the day, as I said, you didn't ask, you were told no. If you work up on it, it was okay. Nowadays, you better not work up on it. You better ask, and hopefully you'll get a signed affidavit saying the party of the first part, Susan, and party of the second part, John. Party of the second part agrees that we can have sex, and the party of the first part, you may be allowed to stick it in. What I mean? It's silly, but damn, come on now.
No, it's real though. I would rather guys got very specific about these things, because I don't like that y'all are being taken advantage of across the board, from paternity suits to just general pleasantries. I've seen a guy hold the door for a girl and she came back and told everybody that he liked her. But he just held the door for you.
Just because he held the door?
He held the door. Also, he's just very nice. He says hi to everybody who comes into the store.
Wow.
So, but if nobody's ever nice to you, or if people are only doing things to get something from you, well, your social skills are all jacked up, because you're not reading anything the right way. You just think that everybody's out to get you, or that you are supposed to be doing these things to get got. And I don't know when that happened, but if I can't smile at people in public because they think that I'm trying to get with them, or if guys can't hold doors for women without thinking that the women are trying to get with them, it's just crazy.
But you can't. Eve, you can't smile. But my uncle, when I was a teenager, he said, just because a woman smiles at you, it don't mean anything, Clarence. I always understood that. But do you know, Eve, there are many men that if you smile at them, they really believe that you want them. Mm-hmm. They don't understand that you're just being nice. You're just that's being nice. That's being courteous. But a lot of them don't understand, in a sense that they think they can go further. And this is a shame, Russell Richardson says, what do you say? Also, the Megan's defense, she had no idea that the guy was going to hug her in that way. He struck like a cobra.
Very true.
That might be the way he is, but he probably wouldn't have wanted, if his wife, he probably wouldn't have wanted anybody picking up his wife. No, wait a minute. No, you don't do that. But anyway, I don't. Teresa Miller said, my spouse and I worked at the same place, different departments. And lots of the people didn't know we were married. I always believed my private life was off limits. That's true, because my wife, she used to tell me, she said, because some of my jobs, she felt that I lost them because I was talking about her too much, and the women would get jealous and want to fire me. So my wife used to always tell me, don't talk about me on your jobs. Don't talk about me on your jobs, period. And so then I would talk about her on my jobs, but I think the women felt he's not talking about his wife on the job, so he must want me. That could be very. Let's take a little break for a while. I want to show some some advertisements or something.
So dreamy.
Hey, I've just written a new book, History and Culture of the Black Aboriginals of America. Yes, I've written a new book. This book is called History and Culture of Afro-Americans. It's about the Aboriginal Americans. It's about the first people who inhabited America. Many people don't know about our great culture, this super culture that we created, but I discuss this book. In 489 pages, you'll find out so much information, great information, about, in a sense, what the Aboriginal foundational Black Americans did. You're going to see, in a sense, that Black people contributed much here When the first Europeans got here, that's what they found. Yes, they found black aboriginals inhabiting the Americas. It was the black aboriginals that built this country. This is why you had to get my book. Get my book, History and Culture of the Aboriginal Blacks of the Americas. In this book, you will find out the truth. You will know what we created. You will know who we are. Get this book. Buy it now.
What's up? What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just_Us. That's JUSTICE, 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool in my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Since the goal touch your heart with a dinner rolls. Shake the spirit one time, it gets old. She gon' take me out of space into another zone. Free spirit, she ain't messing with them petty hoes. Microwaves and cobaltos out of phone. Funkadelic vibe and smoking good on that drone. Call me eating out with the cuz all up in a fro. This queen approach, she gon' drop it low to the flow. You know she liquid gold with the alchemy in the bowl. Trippy super soda's the greatest tale never told. She gon' get you right, you can set up a point of goals. You gon' spend the night in the harmon out with your toes. You know she's super fine and the aura down to her bones. Super magic fairy, I'm lost in the rituals. She give me life like butterflies on the rose. Really rich and old, ain't nothing like cracker trolls. Sitting in the clothes, an extraterrestrial. And she never fold, trap crackers up in the throat. She drink your wine, she rock you up like a pole. And she spark my mind with intellectual pose. Shake butter oils and linger up in your nose. Independent goddess like rhythm up in the soul.
Yellow honey, drip slow, sweet agave at the toe. Independent finance, wine, citrus mist. My Wonder Woman, I wonder how to.
Buy my book, Atlantis in Mexico. In Atlantis in Mexico, you will learn about the great Olmec civilization of Mexico. Yes, the Olmec civilization of Mexico. In this book, I tell you about how it was the Olmecs who invented the calendar that are used by the Maya today. It is the Olmecs who are the mother culture of Mexico. Buy my book, Atlantis in Mexico. Learn about the Olmecs. Learn about their civilization. Learn about the wonders that they left the Mexican people. You can purchase my book at Amazon.com. Buy my, buy my book, Nationality and the Law. In this book, we discuss the importance of race and identity among many African Americans. I explore the genesis of the so-called blacks from an ethnogenesis of Black Irish, Black Aboriginals, and Sub-Saharan Africans. In this book, you will understand how they were separated into two races and why we call, in a sense, the Caucasian race the white race today. Buy my book, The Nationality and the Law. You'll enjoy it.
Paths of ancient lore, metaphysical keys to unlock the door. A book written by Jennifer Soar, with the guided visions of Yoshimo. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, the spirits are within me, our history. Ancient black spirituality, galactic celestial symphony, cosmic melanated energy, the spirits are within me, our history.
Buy my book, Blacks in Europe. This is one of the most important books that you'll find on the market today. In this book, I discuss the rise of Black people in Europe. I have a special section on the so-called Baradinaks. The Baradinaks are the Black people that formerly lived in Britain who were sold into chattel slavery in the 13 colonies and in the Caribbean. Buy this book, Blacks in Europe. You can get this book at Amazon.com. Buy this book today. Learn about the Black nationalities that lived in Europe. Learn that Europe was once a Black continent. Buy my new book.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Most of those videos were made by Yoshimod. Check out Yoshimod Productions. The brother makes some beautiful stuff, and he loves his people, and the things that he do are just so fantastic. Support Yoshimod Productions, please.
Yes, please support Yoshi. He's so cool.
Yeah. But again, now this whole idea of why can't we be friends? It's an interesting thing, but it's kind of very difficult. Sometimes, it was getting so bad back in the day that it seems as though sometimes men and women, because of the fact that there's always this idea that they may go with each other, or somebody might become mad at someone else and want to get them fired, that sometimes it seems very hard, in my opinion, for men and women to really work on the same jobs.
I think it's so strange because, like, in real time I have men that are not my man or my brother or my uncles or my cousins that I think are my friends, but what I'm learning is I'm learning that we don't need no friends, no new friends. That might be the only quote from Drake that I'll ever use is no new friends. Where I find that we have family, and inside of your family, there's a lot of incestuous relationships that I'm finding out because people are calling people their brothers, but then these are people that they're linking up with. That's my cousin, but it's people that they're linking up with. They're giving family relationships and titles to people they're linking up with because they want it to be not so strange that they're hanging out with this person that they're not related to or in a relationship with, but they are very much in a relationship with. And I think if we get more serious about these definitions, like if you calling somebody your brother, you calling somebody your cousin or whatever, and then it's found out that you are linking up with this person, there might need to be some consequences for messing with our family. And then on the other side of that, Neely Fuller, right, he says that Black people can't hang out because when we hang out, it gets, it's not productive. They're not constructive conversations. Like we probably only can be around each other for about 2 hours before some shit starts happening, whether it's your family, you'd be with your family for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever the big holiday is. And shit really starts getting funny when everybody's been there for a long time and it's comfortable. Same with, friend groups or stranger groups even. You can put on a show for a little while and then the real you starts to show up, whoever that is. And well, again, if you listen to Neely Fuller, he says that that's when the shooting starts, right after about 2 hours of Black people being around each other, they probably need to go home. I think that might be a thought that needs to extend across environments, because if we're not doing something to further something along, what are we doing? And a lot of times we are developing relationships. That is what we're furthering along if there's nothing constructive coming from it. So like Yoshi, because that's who we were talking about. I love Yoshi. I don't know this man. I love him though. I think he's so intelligent. I think he's so sincere. I think he is authentic. But again, I don't know him. I know him as much as you guys know him. And maybe I know him a little bit more because I've had conversations with him off the internet. But just if we all know what we know based off of what we've learned, then I don't know if that's my friend as much as that's like my brother. Like if I were in a pinch, I would call him, and not that he's my first call either, because I have a man, like people are giving responsibilities to people that haven't accepted it or that have a title that they don't want the responsibility for. Like if, okay, I know I'm all over the place. There's there's this thing, if a girl has a guy, if a woman is with a man and her car breaks down, who's she supposed to call? Does she call her dad? Does she call her man? Does she call her friend that's a mechanic? Who does she call, Dr. Winters?
I think it's complicated because we play roles. We play roles. And because we play roles, then therefore, in a sense, you had to play a different role at different times. But I think it's just like you know, sometimes you can have a relationship with one of your children when they get older, where you can have a relationship where they're just not your son. They may be your friend, not the friendly friends that they have, like going out together, drinking together, or something like that. But you may feel very close to one of your children, more closer than another, even though you never love one more than the other. Never. None of us ever have a favorite. We never have favorites. Never. Except the baby. We can be favorites with them. Anybody else? No. Are we lying or telling the truth? I don't know. But again,
no, that's why parents, I'm going to tell you the trick. This is how you have to do it. You have a favorite. You have a favorite of all of your children. We have 5. I have a favorite 12-year-old right now. I have a favorite 9-year-old. I have a favorite boy twin. I have a favorite girl twin. And then I have a favorite almost 5-year-old. And that's very accurate. Okay, my man's like, and I have a favorite. Me, yes. You my favorite too. Okay. All right. Thank you for my drink. No, I think that parents could be very honest with their children if they gave their children the space to be 100% them. Stop judging them against their siblings, and they can be your favorite because one of them is funny as fuck. One of them is going to trip you out by how they think. And this is if you have more than one, obviously. I'm just talking about like parents of multiples. You parents of solos, I don't know why you did that. That just seems like a lot of work for you.
But what I've found is interesting is that the most emotional, and the most family-ish, the most emotional and family-ish is that last child. That last child seems to be the one that is so family-oriented that it's kind of hard for them, really, in a sense, to really understand the dynamics of the family, in the sense that they feel. I'm talking. See, I have adult children now, so I can say this. And so then a lot of times the baby, he seems to be just so in love with the family more than any of the other children, And it's kind of interesting, but it puts a lot of pressure on them because they want to see people perfect, and it's kind of harder for them in a sense to that in the family, each person, your brothers, your mother, your father, everybody is an individual, and sometimes it's hard for them, really, in a sense, that baby to really say, "Damn, that's not right. That's not fair. We should all just be this and be that." Well, there is no this, there is no that, because of the roles we play, and there are these many roles, and it's very difficult.
I agree. It's tough because, like Russell said it in the chat, like he felt like men and women can't truly be platonic friends because nature and then curiosity. And I agree. And I hate that. I fucking hate that, because to me, if you are friendly with someone or we are able to get shit done, that's something that should be explored, because there's so many people out here who are not doing the things. And Riz, I am being diplomatic, because if you're a parent of multiples, you can't sit here and say you don't have a favorite. I was talking with one of mine earlier in the week, and the one that I was talking to gets it a lot faster than everybody else. And it's so unexpected. And I'm talking to them. You see, I'm them and they, not because they're not a girl or a boy, but because I'm being funny, right? So no, I'm talking to my mini about how fast they get things and just how strong they are, and how so much is just so easy for them. But then so much can be so difficult for them too. And there's a balance, as much as you might get everything very fast, and that makes me very happy. Things that you're doing that don't, yeah.
But what I hate, Eve, is that the kid that's always the fuck up, and you always had to. It's always one that's. If you got three, it's always one that's a fuck up. I got 6, so, but the one who's a fuck up, and you always had to sometimes talk to them a little bit more than the others. Then all your kids say, "Oh, that's your favorite." No, he's the fuck up, and because he's always fucking up, he's always needing us to help him get out of trouble or help her get out of trouble. And but the kids say, "No, that's your favorite. You're always with him. You always talk." That's because he's always in need and shit. I wish you could take him, kid. I wish you were his father. Not. It's hard. It's harder, but it's very difficult.
Absolutely. And just like Russell said, just because you have a favorite does not mean that you don't love them differently. But like what we were talking about earlier, if one of my minis turned into a person who didn't want to reproduce themselves into the future, because to me, all right, all the way free. Look, to me, if a person wants to replicate themselves, they're not gay. Their biology is working just fine, but something's wrong up here if they feel like they can do it any other way than the way that you can do it. Mm-hmm. From there, there are other conversations that can be held, because some people don't want kids. I have gay friends. I don't know if they're friends anymore, because I feel very strongly about some of these things. I have gay people that I've grown up with that don't want children. They've never wanted children. They're adults now. They don't want children. And I think that's great, because the gay person who wants children, you're setting them up for a lifetime of confusion, because what are we doing here? Like, how did we get here? You about to start lying to them? Like, what are we doing? But inside of all of that, it's if any of them turned out to be a person who didn't want to reproduce themselves for the future, it doesn't mean that I'd love them less. I would just be very confused. I'd want to understand the reasons why, and maybe people don't take that time to understand why. Because as a parent, I put my children in the best schools and they had the best environment, whatever. And then the child tells you that somebody was being funny with them. I would never, the parent starts to take issue with whatever it was the child experienced that made them grow up to be however they are. And I think it's a lot of blame game going on. But at the end of the day, I don't think you'd love them less as much as you would just be very confused as a parent. I watched this man. He was crying. It was a white man, and his son was a girl now, and he was trying to do this I still love you thing, but it's probably a parent who had disowned his child for not being a boy anymore. And the man had tears in his eyes, and I felt for him. I felt 1,000,000,000% for him, because he's looking at his son, and his son's not his son anymore, and his son doesn't want to be his son anymore, and that's got to hurt. And again, as a parent, maybe that would make me feel some kind of way, but
because you don't want to have dreams, but you still have dreams for your children. I remember in a sense, I was talking to my sons, and I said, "Damn, I sent y'all to college, but only your sister wanted to graduate. Y'all went to college and stuff." And they said, "Well, Pops, we could never be as smart as you." I said, "You're full of shit." Shit. I said, because so then those are the things. Those are the things as a parent. You have dreams for your children. But what I had to learn in a sense is that you have to allow your children to be who they are. And they may disappoint you. But you have to still love them for who they are. And that's something that's very difficult, because see, as a man, you want your kids to, hell, all my kids, I knew what you were going to do. This one, a lawyer, that one, this one, that. No, we decided on that when you were kids, remember? Hell no, they forgot. Why did you forget? And then I started saying, damn, I had 5 boys and 1 girl. And then I said, maybe my baby doll was right. Maybe I should have had more daughters and stuff.
Well, according to you, you know how to make
Yeah,
them.
I knew how to make them.
So
Yes.
maybe you should have had more daughters.
I should have made more girls. I know you're laughing at that, but I must have known I did it.
Well, in real time, you were fighting the war. You told me and everybody that you and your baby doll was ready to go. Y'all were
The
ready,
war.
and you would want boys for that.
Yeah.
I get
Now-
that. I'm here. I get it. But
And I always had them. We were talking about that the other day. I said, remember when I was little, I always taught y'all that y'all were supposed to follow your older brother. They said that's true. And then I said, I'm gonna tell you why now, because I thought we were gonna go into a war. And they said, we can still follow. I said, how are you gonna follow some 50-year-old man? He can't hardly run, and y'all can't run either. Then my oldest son said, that's not right, Pops. I'm still in shape. I said, yeah, okay. I'll be quiet. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Eve.
no, that's just so funny. Because then I think about, the conversation tonight about platonic friendships and if it's real or if it's not real or if it takes a specific type of person, because if the internet is to be believed, then women are always going to have suitors, right? And then all of these suitors are going to have a place in her orbit, whether it's a family relationship, this is my actual man, or this is someone that I can call on for something else or whatever. But all of these men have a role in her life. And it just brings me back to that one question. If her car is broken down and she's got a dude in her life that she knows is a mechanic, she has a man and she has a dad, who does she call? And a lot of people would be really stuck on that question. And I don't think there's any reason to be stuck, because you've already given people hierarchy and roles in your life, right? So you would call your man first because it's your man. And then from there, maybe he would say, oh yeah, well, call Jimmy. Jimmy works on cars, right? And then you would call Jimmy. But then some women are out here and they're going to call Jimmy first because they know Jimmy works on cars and my man doesn't work on cars, so I'm gonna call him for. I'm just wasting time. But there's a reason that we've got these hierarchies out here, and it's for order. And when you think about how racist white supremacists want us to be in this system of chaos, I find that it's very easy to understand the confusion that people supposedly come across. But are they confused, or are they just mad that they can't get away with some things? And inside of that, maybe there are no platonic friendships as much as, when you are making your family, that would include your counterpart. Yeah. Men are including their wives, women are including their husbands. And then inside of that, everybody else has a role, right? Your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, whatever. And then that unit, that complementary unit, makes decisions for everybody. But you can have Michael Ealy's out here like Russell said, being a cobra, you gotta be careful for the cobra.
But like Tom Spice said, I have sisters from another mother that have been in my life forever. And it is aggravating to get people and family to believe or to know that everything is platonic. That's true, and it's very hard, because I felt that when certain women said they were my friends, I really felt they were my friends. And then there was one woman, I thought she was my friend, and we used to take a lot of the kids on the club. We were in the Beta Club, and we used to take the kids downstate. And my school, we would go down and we would kick the white kids' school's ass. We were a badass school. We were bad, and we had some super students, and so we would go down there and just kick ass. A lot of our kids, a lot of our 8th graders would win scholarships to boarding schools and stuff, because we were just that good. And so but then one day I found out that she didn't want to be platonic. Hell, she wanted to get it on. But damn. And do you know what? Do you know what? When I found this out, I became very angry and mad at her.
Was it?
I became very angry and mad at her because I thought she was my friend. Because then I started saying that everything she was doing was that she was just trying to, as the women say, get in their skirts. She's just trying to get into my pants. She was just trying to get me to have sex with her. And I felt that she was being deceptive. And I felt that, and I said, damn, she wasn't really my friend. She was just being deceptive. And she was just trying to get me in a situation where maybe when we would take the kids downstate, maybe one of those nights I would maybe kind of creep over to her
Sneak
room
up to that room.
and but I was mad at her. I'm gonna tell you this. Same thing like the one of the reasons I stopped hanging around with Reverend Matthews. I do not like liars. I do not like cheats, and I do not like fakers. If you're a liar and you're a faker, I'm not gonna deal with you. If I find out you're a liar or faker, I'm not gonna deal with you because I don't like those people to be around me. And so then, even though I had liked her, I felt that she had been my friend just so she could maybe hoping one day I was going to just cross over into her room and stuff. Maybe that's why she used to come to my room and want to talk sometime. I don't know, but again, I didn't like that. I don't like fakers, Eve. I do not like.
I don't think that you're supposed to. That's part of the rapey mentality that society has put on us. If we don't accept certain appreciations or attention, then we're bad people, or we're mean, or it's just something's not right about him. Some women have even gone as far as calling some of y'all gay because you don't accept certain advances, and it's like,
right,
maybe they just want you to respect yourself. Maybe he'd like you if you hadn't hopped up on the table and said, come to, like, been a little too forward for him, but women don't want to hear that as much as they just want to hear that whatever and however they've acted is okay. But it's not okay.
I know I disappointed my father. But my wife, she was just, how did this lady put it? She said, your wife must be super bad. I said, she is, and I said, damn, how can I have sex with you when she wants it? But the thing is that I am so happy. I'm so happy that God has brought great people into my life. There's been some assholes too, lots and lots of assholes. How you doing, Natty? What took you on, Natty? You just showing up. But anyway, I had a lot of assholes. But what I found in a sense is that I found that except for that woman who broke my heart, and she broke my heart because I began to feel that everything she had ever done was pretentious. Everything she had ever done was just hoping that she could one day get me to have sex with her and stuff. But I wasn't that guy. And the reason I wasn't that guy is that my wife had told me, she said, you can cheat on me anytime you want, but don't ask me for forgiveness and I will know and it won't be the same. And I'm lucky that my wife made my life very happy. My baby doll, in a sense, she made me very happy. What I miss the most is those 12 o'clock at night. What the hell you up at 12 o'clock talking? But just the conversation, just the talks. Because see, the older you get, you can't perform as well, but at least you can still talk. I'm gonna be honest. Hell shit. Don't worry about it. Old ass man. Don't even worry about him. All he can do is look. And the thing is this, no. But I found in my years of marriage that it was the conversation. It's the conversation that allows you to really, even if it's a silly conversation or a deep conversation, it's the conversations that allow you to move forward. And that's why you can be friends. You can be friends. You see, and even though they say we can't be friends, you can be friends if you allow people to be open enough to you. But anyway, we've already talked to. We got other things to do. Did you want to make a final comment?
Well, here's the thing. I might have been all over the place tonight, but it was for good reason, because it is something that I personally have difficulties with. I like being able to work with whoever I can work with, because I know that some people rock with me and some people, there really are polar opposites when it comes to dealing with me. inside of that, I like getting things done, and I like people who do the things that they say that they're going to do. Now, but does that mean that I like you, or do I like the work? Am I attracted to the productivity or to the person? And I mean, I think if people were honest, and really we live in a dishonest society, Dr. Winters, like nobody really wants to be accountable for how they feel, because how they feel might not be how they were taught to feel. So now they have to ignore it or shy away from it or hide it. And all of that is fucked up. We probably need to be attacking some of this stuff head on.
But see, that's because we say the wrong words. In any relationship, in any good relationship, I don't care if it's a marriage relationship or friendship relationship, it's not so much I like you as I respect you. And because the fact that I respect you, then I'm not going to do you wrong, because I wouldn't want you to do me wrong. And it's the respect in a sense, I think, that makes the relationships be able to flow. It's us in a sense to be able to have good friendships and good relations. And I do think sometimes you can have a platonic relationship with the opposite sex, but after what happened to me and that woman, in a sense, and it was wrong of me. It was wrong of me. But once I found out that she wasn't my friend, and I felt she had ulterior motives, that she really was hoping that one day I would sleep with her and stuff. And, but the thing, I didn't like her after that. And I felt that was wrong of me, but I didn't like her after that. I didn't like her.
I don't think it's wrong of you. No, more men need to put their foot down with this shit, because women are only going to do what y'all allow. Really, a lot of the shit that's wrong, it's been because y'all have allowed us to run amok. And I don't know if it's because we have the JJ that rules the world or not. Like, I don't know what it is, but
mama. It's your mama.
There you go. Yeah, mommy issues abound. But no, men probably need to put their foot down a little bit more.
Like your mama. Yeah. That's true, but see, but you have to know when. Even in a relationship with your wife or your baby now. Sometimes you push it, like I told you. Sometimes my wife would want to argue, and we never really had arguments, but sometimes she didn't want to argue. I'd indulge. And then after a while, I'd go ahead and let her get it out of her system and move forward. But that's her. It's just like the nature. But see, what allowed me to understand women is I've mentioned this before. One day I came over to my grandmother's house, and my Aunt Mabel, beautiful woman, she was crying, and she was crying, and I said, "What's wrong, Aunt Mabel?" She said, "Just wait." So, as she got through crying, she looked me in the eye and she said, "Clyde, I'm a woman. If I cry, can't I cry?" I said, "It doesn't have anything to do with you or anything else. It's just that I wanted to cry. Can't I cry?" And I said, "Damn. That's what you have to understand, is you have to let a woman be a woman. And no matter what it is, no matter what it is, and you also have to let your woman be herself. And this is the hardest thing for many of us as men, because we want to control. Sometimes, in a sense, if you want to control too much, that's when your woman is going to rebel. So a lot of times you had to learn when to be forceful, when to relax. When a woman is allowed to live her life, and be who she feels she is good. Because see, I do believe in a sense that men and women can be friends. And I think the best example is if you can get a mate, a partner. You don't have to always marry them, but if you can get a partner and you two can relate to each other, can communicate well, I think that then there is hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that concluding thought. And, I just hope that we're always having conversations that are invoking thoughts that people might not have had yet. Or if it's a thought you had, you weren't in an environment that you felt safe to talk about it. So join us on Wednesdays, because I think it's a safe enough space, right? We're not bashing you for how you feel as much as, you might feel some kind of way about how you feel, and just being honest about these things might move us in a direction that makes sense. So I thank y'all for joining us always.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. You guys have a good evening. Did you want to make another comment before we end?
No, I said, especially you, Naughty. We're happy you came.
Yeah, Naughty. Better late than never. Come on!
If you're not going to speak up, you're the one. If you're not going to speak up, you're the one. If you're not going to speak up, you're the one. If you're not going to speak up, you're the one. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your honest fears.